Alrighty, folks. Thank you for your patience. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the garden, my friends. Y'all are a little shifted to the side. Hold on. Just had to move that a little bit. You were a tad bit shifted to the side. How you doing today, folks? How is your week going? Welcome in, my friends. I hope you're dancing. If you are here, then you're looking to get a little update, a little chatty chat, a little AMA, a little Q&A, a little Star Citizen talking. I have gathered you all for our weekly cult meeting. No, I think I want to do this probably every month, maybe twice a month if things are going kind of quick. But we all know that Star Citizen content has not been going quick the last month or two. So we're not doing it as much, but it is a Monday. And you know what that means? We're here to chat. We're here to talk. It's Toes Gang time. We're going to talk about Star Citizen 324, 4.0, what's going on, what's getting updated, roadmap roundup, Inside Star Citizen Live, whatever it is. Ask your questions in brackets. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you for being here. Probably want to skip ahead a couple minutes because we're going to be doing our hellos as always. If you're not here live, though, consider coming live. It's good fun. It's good times. And for those of you who are on the Discord server, you may have seen we are getting ready for a streamathon this Saturday, probably this Friday, actually. And we're going to do it classic style. Lately, we've been doing a lot of just straight 12-hour streamathons. But if 324 goes to PTU this week, if it does, and we've got our fingers crossed because we've been waiting like 2 months. If it does go to PTU, we're just going to do the whole throw a sub, throw a membership, you extend the time, I keep streaming until they run out. I'll be playing with GII. I'll be playing by myself. We'll be testing out cargo. We'll be testing out all the stuff. Mrs. Tomato already has a horrible list of tortures for me, but also treats. And we've got giveaways going on. We've got ships coming. We got a cutter. We got a Firebird. We got multiple giveaways ready to be done on Saturday and Friday. So make sure to come drop by that. You know, it's good times, and I'm looking forward to it. We haven't done a streamathon in a little while, but today we're just chatting. Thank you for being here, Notification Gang. Welcome. Reese, I see you with the toes. Marco Holio, welcome. Frisch, Lycos. We've been having good conversation on Discord like all day about different topics. The Garden Discord server is a good time. It is a fantastic time. It's I like just kicking back and talking with you guys, especially because like when I know it's 10 a.m. over here, it's like 2 a.m. for you guys, yet I'm still getting answers from the Americans. So shout out to y'all for having nocturnal tendencies. I appreciate you. It continues my morning entertainment. Arch Raff, good to see you. Finally got the chance to watch this in Twitch, dude. Twitch is hot, man. It's it gives us a little bit more fun, more alerts, more raffle stuff. We got to get the point system back going on. I know we got rid of it, but I love seeing you guys running the roulays, the gambling. I don't like to encourage your gambling habits, but it is fun to see people gain big or lose everything. And also you get to use those points to do things like make me sing or get me shot, courtesy of Mrs. Tomato. And as I mentioned, Mrs. Tomato has been planning out the streamathon for this weekend. So keep an eye out for that and make sure to come. You'll be able to earn some giveaways. You'll see me do an ice bucket challenge and, you know, a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm not going to spoil for you. Also, because we're doing a streamathon on Friday, that means we will be moving our cooking stream this week to Wednesday, probably. So if you're enjoying those, little sipping a bit wine, little hanging out and chatting about life and stuff, it's been a good time. Like we talk life lessons and best foods and all around just have a fantastic time with the community. If you want to check that out, make sure to come on Wednesday. I'll be rating straight into it from this stream. Core Gameplay, good to see you. AAK, we were just chatting, dude. Hope your travels and school has been treating you well. Thanks for dropping by, man. Hope you're good. Hope your June is good. Hope your July is good. I know you've been taking some breaks from Star Citizen. It's probably for the best. Reese, I keep seeing you, dude, with the fishes. Reese is an OG, though. He knows back when the fish time was the poppin' time. Thank you for being here, dude. Luna Maria, hello. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Hope the little one is coming along well and everything's smooth for you guys. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful day today. I'll know. We, chatting back and forth. Jaybird 07's buddy, Feathers, welcome in. Cedric, favorite space tomato? Okay, see now, that's saying something, right? Because I gotta ask you a question. Did you hear about the space tomato they found out by the space station? It's like floating around Earth. That little thing. They found a space tomato last year. Was it last year? I think it was like late last year. Because if that was your favorite space tomato, I totally understand. I heard that guy has a beautiful voice. But I appreciate the kind words nonetheless. Thank you for being here. Shifty, as always. Jowl, welcome, dude. Good to see you. I'm still working on that pronunciation. I hope it works, though. Flaro, official music. Flaro. Yo, dude. Hype in the chat. Thank you for showing up. I saw somebody say something about the sign. About the new sign. Obviously, a Twitter user. There it is. Arc Ralph. Where's the Space Tomato Gaming sign? We got it right here. I haven't put it up yet. But this is this is a new custom printed sign that Mrs. Tomato got made in lights and ordered, and we're gonna put it on the wall right back here. There's a little blank space you can see right there next to the poster, and it is beautiful. Yeah, there we go. And it came actually looking like this, Tomato Space Gaming, but luckily it can be reorganized. And so she thought it was permanent like that. Would have been kind of embarrassing. But no, we got the Space Tomato Gaming sign here, and we're gonna put it up. Very cool. Big moment for us. I've never seen any sort of name of mine in lights. That's very exciting. Yeah, it'll be right back there on the wall. Hold on, let me show them it'll be right there. I'm super excited for it. It's very cool. Overall, this is turning into quite the room, courtesy of Space Tomato. So that'll be up probably by next stream. We got to drill holes and do all the mounting stuff by then. Are we gonna release Toes into the wild? I was thinking, dude, what if we changed our... Okay, I wasn't actually thinking this. This just came to my mind. What if we took the beginning rank in GII, initiates, when you first join the org? What if we changed that rank to Toes? What if we just called our beginning rank Toes? So every time we had to, instead of red shirts, it's like Toes shirts. Hey, we need some toes on the bridge. I'm sorry, it's very strange for anybody who's not like in on the whole why there's toes. Don't worry about it, it's not weird. Tomato tortures, you've got ready. This is Tomato. Come on. Echo, dude, good to see you. How you doing, Juicy Man? How you doing? I got your freaking... your thing right here. It's good luck. It keeps me safe at night. And during the days. Anybody who does have something up here on the wall, thank you so much. When I see you pop into the chat, I will bring up whatever it is you have donated to this lovely wall of Star Citizen antiques. And we'll show them off a little bit. Rye Cops, good to see you, dude. Cedric, welcome. Design, Design, Broger. It's 11 a.m. over there. You have a good breakfast, dude? 4:20 and a beautiful day in England. Blaze it up, single track. Thanks for hopping in. You're free today from work because there is a block of what you used to watch on YouTube. They usually block your YouTube stuff at work. I get it. I waste a lot of time on YouTube, so I understand. Daylight Fire, good to see you. Good afternoon, my friend. How's it going? It's going well, buddy. We're going to get into some Q&A here in a bit. If that's something that piques your interest. Let me throw on some extra music. Kind of died out on me there. Seeing the proper pronunciation of the country Turkey at the Olympics was really cool. I bet they would focus on that now. You know how it is. Country comes out and they're like, you better call me my name. Turkey is like, you better get my pronouns. It's Turkey/yeah. Rycops, you vote that I do a stream chillathon instead of a torture-a-thon. I like that, but that sounds surprisingly close to all the people who keep asking me to do a hot tub stream. Personally, I'm not going to do that until my My boobs get like 2 sizes bigger because I've been out of the gym for a while. Catchup gamer, good to see you. Love from Congo, Africa. Finn's friend. Yo, that's pretty wild. My brother-in-law was living in Congo for a few years there. He was around Kinshasa. Kinshasa. Yeah. Feathers coming to the stream. Good to see you. No way you found the space tomato in space. Yeah, they did. Look it up. They lost a tomato and they found it later in space. It's kind of nuts. It couldn't catch up to the space tomato. I need a little sound bite, a little badunch for the good jokes in chat, because you got great jokes. Great jokes that keep me up at night. Walgrit, dude, good to see you in chat. Welcome. Can you skip work today? Dude, if it's my say, then yeah. We all need a good break every once in a while. I think that the government should mandate at least one break day every week. Besides weekends. Just need a good holiday, dude. They're working us. All right? They're busting our asses. We kind of need some help. Let us chill a little bit. You're not paying us enough anyways, right? Jules, good to see you, dude. The room's feeling good. Miss Tomato did a fantastic job with this. Lucid Strike, welcome. Welcome in, dude. Anansi. Should be 10 people of the highest rank. Those are the toes, I see. So the toes are like your lieutenants. And then the commander is the foot. Scott Harris Firestone, welcome in, dude. Good vibes. Good to see you. They blocked Twitch at work. Oh, okay. And that's why you watch on YouTube. So now you're not at work, so you can watch on Twitch. I get you. I hear you. They got North Korea and South Korea mixed up. I heard that. I feel like that is the worst possible mix-up you could make. Right? Like, you can't do that. Okay? That's like, man, what is that like? I don't know. Like, I have no metaphor for that. That's just a bad mix-up. Just don't do that. Like, if the Olympics announcers had a list of things they just cannot do, I feel like mixing up South and North Korea would be one of them. Stick your foot in your mouth. Or your toes. Toes. Question. Do you or Mrs. Tomato have any secret home remedies for sunburns? That doesn't sound like Star Citizen questions, my friend. But I would say aloe. Aloe always works. It's got that cooling effect, you know? Or lotion. But I don't know, dude. I'm sorry. I heard you got 2nd-degree burns on your feet. I hope that heals up okay. What kind of yogurt? Oh, yogurt on the feet. Dude, if you're listening to a Turk, the answer is always going to be yogurt. Like, you can't take it with a grain of salt or a grain of yogurt. There's no grain of yogurt. It's like a little spoonful, a little teaspoon of yogurt. What's up, Hunter? Good to see you. Y'all get holidays off. I am live from Turkey. Headset makes it look like I have a man bun. Is that because of this thing? This freaking strap up here, dude. It just like sticks out. I think they did this on purpose to just troll anybody who's wearing this headset. It's silly. What are things going to get better for Star Citizen? When will we see this new update that's going to fix it all? Nelson, with our first question of the day, our actual Star Citizen question. First of all, little reminder, it helps me a lot if you guys type in question in brackets. I can pick them up very easily because I know y'all having conversations in chat, and sometimes I hop in randomly and talk and read what you're saying, and it has nothing to do with what I was talking about. But as for your question, Nelson, when are things going to get better for Star Citizen? This is a question that we have been asking since around 2017, my friend. It's been 7 years of when will things get better? I'm not going to tell you 4.0 because that's not the truth. 4.0 will be a solid turning point, I think, for the development of the game and the idea of Star Citizen. Personally, I don't think that things are going to get better for Star Citizen until at least 3 months after Squadron 42 comes out. Because Nobody releases a game smoothly nowadays. I know Squadron 42 was feature complete last year. And we're all thinking, you know, okay, 18 months max, maybe that means from when Squadron comes out. Squadron gets polished all this year. They finish up the stuff. They fill in the cracks. Obviously, they've run into some trouble because they haven't started any sort of marketing campaign, which means we're not seeing that game this year. There's no flipping way we're seeing that this year. By this time next year, I think would be good. That'd be lucky. But even then, after it launches, they've got support to do on Squadron. And, you know, there's probably plenty of people. We've had devs pop into the chat here who have said, like, we're kind of moving over to Star Citizen. We're getting back to Squadron to work on some stuff that pops up as they go through that polishing phase. So they're back and forth. But until Squadron 42 is in a good enough place that a lot of those devs can just peace out and not have to go back to it and work on it, Star Citizen is going to continue to sit in the back seat. And I was just talking about this on the last stream. I think I'm going to make a video about this sometime soon. Squadron 42 is where all the content and the effort's going. That we all kind of know that. Maybe not on a larger scale, but if you're in this stream, if you're watching this stream after the fact, you're probably tuned in enough to Star Citizen to know that Squadron 42 has taken a lot of the development resources, and I think until that is no longer true, Star Citizen is probably going to be rough. And like people are saying in chat, 4.x server meshing is getting more stable, and the game actually can run. That's really it. I asked most of you guys last stream how you would feel about the game. Like what's most important to you? A lot of people answered that the stability of this game, if they just took the game they have right now and made it stable enough to play easily and reliably, that would be good enough for them. And I think that outside of content, that kind of stability doesn't come until server meshing is in a better place. But if they can do that, it does sound like a lot of people would be more pleased with this game. If there are less crashes, if there are less instances where you just randomly die or lose your progress, those are the kinds of things people are looking for for this game to be in a better place. Compared to 2018, things are incredible. Compared to 2018, things are incredible in Star Citizen, says Brogy. I'll give you that. If we go, man, I mean, let's just look back at what was true in 2018. This is a fun little journey that I like to take every once in a while. You go back in the roadmap and you look at some of the things that were added. So this is March 31st, 2018, right? This is like the first patch that we got in that year. Straight up character customizer. Before that, you couldn't even customize somebody, right? You could do it, but it was very, very limited. Some of the best things, though, were like they actually figured out regular space stations. Before that, they were all just like hand-placed. A couple of space stations here and there hand-placed. Basically, there was no AI FPS combat, I believe. Some of these are really good. Hold on, let's see. This is the first planet, Hurston. So there were no planets before that. You couldn't land on any planetary surface except for, I think, Delamar and the moons of Crusader. But there are some big ones here. Ship rentals. No, this is ship item rental. That's not even in-game ship rentals. Let's see where that pops up. Like back in 2019, 2018, you couldn't even buy ships in the game. It was awful. Where did they add this stuff? Oh, remember hover mode? Anybody who is a Twitch subscriber, YouTube channel member, I mentioned those because it's easy to do in here. But also, if you're a Patreon member, that is the best way to support us. The Patreon site is... Let's see if I can pull that up, actually. Yeah, I'm plugging. Deal with it. Is it Space Tomato or Space Tomato Gaming? If only I knew. Oh, this is Patreon. Sorry, Patreon. This is not sponsored by Patreon, by the way. Okay, so it's definitely Space Tomato. There we go. So on here, everybody here gets access to our exclusive videos. You can see the last one here was actually talking about the hover mode effect, which is partially related to the actual hover mode here, which was a pain in the ass. But back during this early time, dude, where is ship purchasing? How long did that take? Here we go. Ship purchasing. Not until mid 2019 could you buy ships in game. And like up until that point, I would not blame anybody for calling it, you know, maybe not a scam, but at the very least, just not consumer friendly at all. Because you had to buy ships to use them. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, around this time, the game was rough. It was not great. And you know, I know, things are rough right now. But like, look at how many things they added since then. Not all of them are working. A lot of them are broken in different ways. But by golly f***ing G, it was just so much worse. Gotta at least double any timeline they give you. I've struggled with that. I think it's even more than double. Because I've done the whole 25 to 40% addition of time and I still get it wrong, man. When is the Carrack modularity coming in? At least the operating cargo modules. Gosh, I don't know that. They haven't talked anything about that. And I really do wish that with 3.24 we could say they were fixing all of the cargo problems with ships. But they're so busy with engineering, I doubt that's going to happen for a little while. You set aside since Gray Zone Warfare came out and been sucked into that, you keep checking the SC launcher and there's never an update. Gray Zone is that new kind of more tactical shooter, right? Sort of Battlefield-esque. What's the latest on server meshing? They did I know AAK that you've been out a little while with Star Citizen. They did a recent ISC on server meshing here. Wow. Actually, you know, this is Invictus Week. We actually haven't done very much since then. But they did a pickup on server meshing here, and they basically just talked to us about what was going on. There was another test that ran recently. I didn't look too much into it. Somebody else can maybe comment on that, where they tested some new way of, I don't know, receiving messages from the server. There was a test that ran recently. I was not involved in that. We've been busy. But they've been slower on server meshing testing, especially with the preview channel, than I thought they would be this year. Who's surprised? Nobody. You have a feeling server meshing won't add the stability we expect? I don't think it will add stability. I think server meshing allows other people to add stability. Like when we say server meshing will make things more stable, it's really these kinds of things we're talking about. The refactors they can do to systems because server meshing is in the game. There are a lot of things I think they've held off on doing because they've been waiting for server meshing, not necessarily because server meshing will just fix things, but because it allows them to fix the things that are hurt by the server structure in the game right now. I do think server meshing will help a little bit, you know, allowing the game to put more resources towards the smaller parts of the game. Split up the Stanton system into 3 servers that allows less entities to run per server. But I do think that it's more of the refactors and the kind of actual work on gameplay features that depend on server meshing, like the simulation, like the item tracking, like the mission system, like the transit system, that kind of stuff. Once Human did very well with their alpha launch to game launch. Have you heard of it, and what's your thoughts? I've heard of it, but I have no idea what it's about. It's actually just talking to a friend, Hod. You might see his gameplay videos. We were talking kind of about content and just making YouTube videos and stuff, and he was mentioning that he's working on Once Human stuff quite a bit. I want to dive into it, but I don't know anything about it yet. Is there a way to see the before 3.0 patch notes? You have to search the actual pages. So if I go Star Citizen 2.6.3 patch notes, that'll pop up. And they do have a page for patch notes, but for some reason that doesn't go very far back. but you can always just like search for the updates itself, and then you can see these patch notes. Radikusu. Hey, welcome to the membership, friend. Thank you for the support on YouTube. Appreciate you. Unpopular opinion, you liked hover mode. It just sucked because there was no way to reliably see your landing point from within the cockpit, and the controls needed a bit of tuning. I made a video about that too. I bet that pops up if you type in Star Citizen hover mode. Not my big thumbnail saying hover mode sucked with Level Cap Gaming. This was a clip from a podcast I did with Level Cap.
When you switch to Patreon, you're doxing your name.
I am?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm also sending you the graphic for the stream.
All right. It actually doesn't pop up. Wait, that's kind of crazy. What is it called? Star Citizen hover mode. Why wouldn't that pop up? Maybe if you type in Space Tomato too. Star Citizen should be like that. Here it is. I guess I didn't put hover mode in the actual title. So this, I give this a watch if you liked hover mode. Because my argument overall in this video summarized is that hover mode sucked for what it was, but it had the right idea. And they kind of agree. I actually quote them in the, I pull up their own quotes in this where they talk about the fact that they agree hover mode wasn't the right way to do what they wanted to do, but they are still working on doing what they wanted to do with that. That is control surfaces and the heat system. So we'll see that at some point. Oh, Mrs. Tomato just sent me, where the heck does this picture come from? What is that? Why am I wearing glasses? I do not remember that. Mrs. Tomato just sent me the graphic for this week's streamathon. Shirtless Tomat. Nipples, maybe? The f does that mean? We're going to shave my facial hair, apparently. But like I said, we have giveaways. We're doing merch giveaways for socks, hats, hoodies, giving away a Cutter game package, a Nomad game package, and a Saber Firebird game package, as well as a few flare items, some armors, some weapon skins, good stuff. So I hope to see you there. You'll see this probably on the Discord or on Twitter or wherever we post it up, coming up soon. But streamathon this Friday. Come drop by. If the game goes to 324 PTU. If it doesn't, then we might hold off on this until the next week. Please, CIG, don't make us do that. Do I see 4.0 launching in some form before CitizenCon? I could see it. Can't say that's a guarantee, because nothing in Star Citizen ever is. But server meshing is the only thing that matters. So if they can do server meshing, they can get it out. But we don't, like, in my opinion, the update they did on server meshing was a little disappointing because we didn't get enough news on what's actually gonna happen. So I couldn't tell you how they're doing on server meshing at all right now. Radikusu, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. 324 doesn't even feel real now. Yeah, 324 is rough. 324 hurts. With both updates getting their releases compressed so closely together, what are the chances they just end up pushing 324 back and blending it into 4.0? We talked about that last stream, but I don't think that'll happen. Yeah, I don't see them doing that. I think that would be I think that would be not great. And I mean, mostly not great for us. Maybe that would work best for them and what they want to do, but I just don't see them doing that. Do we know what the 10 popular ships they're going to give engineering and resource stuff to will be? You know the Cutlass Black's going to be in there, right? Cutlass Black's probably going to be there. Constellation's probably there. I don't know how small of ships they're going to be doing. I wouldn't say Avenger Titan is big enough for them to put effort into that. Just consider the ships you see most of, though. Connie, Cuddy, Corsi. Are there any others that I can name like that? Murky. All of the medium-sized multi-crew ships that people like. Message of the day, we are not looking to publish another 324 build today. We are working through more issues for a possible build Tuesday. We also have a goal to run an RMQ tech preview later this week with an audience based on the current PTU wave. Okay. Okay. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Ah, yes. Our recent commentary on React's videos. There's a lot to say about React's videos. Generally, though, what happens when React's videos come out is whatever video is being reacted to ends up having a... It ends up being viewed through a different lens than whatever the original artist intended. And you could apply that to literally anything. I mean, you guys see it all the time. If somebody says something in an interview or at a rally or a press conference or something like that, if somebody else takes that video and then talks over it to their audience ends up going away with a different idea of that video than what they would have had if they watched it originally. And that's a problem in my opinion. I think, especially when it comes to where that additional content is being put out. So like, take somebody from Halo community reacting to something from Star Citizen community, that's entirely different community of people, right? But if you take something from the Star Citizen community and then do that in the Star Citizen community, then you're essentially reframing whatever was posted originally, and that changes reputation. I get a lot of comments on my videos from people who have definitely not watched my video and only watched somebody else talk about it, and that changes the whole dynamic of how people receive our videos, consider our content. Somebody might say, hey, I know how this guy talks. I'm not going to watch this podcast. And that's not because of the content. That's because of what somebody else said with the content. And that ends up being a problem. On top of that, obviously, reacting to content is not making content. And I know some people believe differently. They think that it's original content if you talk over it. I don't. When I look at these videos like ISC, I'm trying my best to expand on what they're saying rather than just give an opinion on what they're saying. So we do deep dives, or we bring up old stuff, where we bring up new stuff. We kind of try to connect the dots. And I think it takes more to add to the context of the video than to just talk about what's being said on it. So that's what I'll say there. Jai Funk, dude, good to see ya. Good to see you in chat, man. An OG, a true OG. How you doing? With both updates getting their releases oh, I already read that. Do you see 4.0 launching in some form, stripped down before CitizenCon? Answered that one. I do think it's possible. It will be stripped down. Almost certainly, we will have features that are not on here in 4.0, and we will have features that are on here not in 4.0. Are they planning a Nyx playground this year? Not that I know of. Is there any big pillars left after server meshing? Org tools? If you go back to the road to release in 2018, in 200 and 128, the year, you can see all their different pillars. And Chris is having a blast talking about them. You got procedural planet tech from 3.0, location persistence, object container streaming. We got that bind culling. We got that. Let's jump forward a bit. Man, Chris just knows how to talk, dude. Ship purchasing and rental. We talked about that a bit ago. It got added in a little late. Organization system. This is where it gets kind of funny, because organization system is here, but then full persistence is here, which we got with PES. And after that, You get server meshing. So like these were their kind of big pillars they had to hit that were the most hard to come up with, and they just like, organization systems. What's that? They'll get to this. They've talked about it a little bit this year and it's coming along. I think that's a big pillar they need to hit. And obviously, we know there are other things they need to do, like their simulation, as somebody mentioned, as you mentioned, their Star Sim simulation. I think that a big pillar for them is AI, in the sense that we need interaction with AI. Like right now, it's super bare, but we need AI who can handle jobs for us, move cargo around, do mining, do transportation. We need AI that can give us missions. We need AI that can, actually function. Like all of those things I think are really important for making the game feel like a game. It feels really dead when there's no AI around, and that doesn't include AI on chairs. They might as well not be there. You're one of 5 people in the whole game who liked hover mode? Perhaps. A lot of people liked hover mode. Like that video that I just talked about, if you go back and look at the comments on it, people disagreed with me on that video. Mainly because they probably didn't listen to it and they just read the comments. But yeah, look at this. I like the top comment. I liked hover mode when we first got it. It was tricky, but once I got used to it, you can pull some seriously cool moves with it. 100 plus updates. This person, I love hover mode. I loved hover mode. I loved hover mode. Just a whole bunch of love for hover mode. So you're not alone, but please listen to the video, because when I say that hover mode sucked, it is not the idea of hover mode. It's just the way they did it. The way they did it was the way they did master modes. And I'm not one of those people who's going to rage about master modes a lot, but master modes is a arbitrary limit on the ship. Yes, they can come up for some lore reason for why master modes throws us 30 G's of gravity or of force to slow us down for no reason in space. But it is the way it is. And the same thing happened with hover mode. If you flew below a certain speed, you had no control over what your ship did. It would do it for you. And that, in my opinion, is wrong for this game. The new version focuses on if you go below a certain speed, then you have to rely on your aerodynamic, or you have to rely on your thrusters to fly instead of aerodynamics. Therefore, if you have thrusters that can handle slow speed, you're good. If you don't, you got to figure something else out. That, in my opinion, is so much more the Star Citizen way. Makes you consider what the consequence of what you're doing is, and makes you look for options to get around it that aren't necessarily the same for everyone. And that, in my opinion, is 100 times better than a forced mode that makes your ship transform no matter what if you go a certain speed. That's my take. When do we think SC will stop making overall playability worse after everything they add to the game? Personally feel slightly scammed. Once the game is feature complete. I think any game that we play will likely feel like it is becoming worse and worse as they add more and more features until they can stop and focus more on fixing things. Star Wars, what's it called? Eclipse. That game's probably not coming out till like 2028. Could you imagine if we were playing that game right now? Like, how terrible it would feel to play. Fallout 5. I don't even know if they've started on Fallout 5. Let's not say that. Let's say the next Cyberpunk game. I think they're working on the next Cyberpunk. They're working on Witcher 4, the Witcher remake, and another Cyberpunk project. If we were playing the next Cyberpunk project right now, we would probably assume that they are constantly making playability worse because they're adding features and not bug fixing. I'm not saying that Star Citizen is in the same boat because they're trying to run a live game and they should focus on making the play experience better. but they are cutting very close corners to try and fund the other game, Squadron 42, and make that work beforehand. I think that they have bitten off more than they can chew, and that makes it difficult. But the reality in my mind is that they are gung-ho on just trying to get features in and keep it somewhat playable while they do that. And I think that's what makes it really bad. So I don't think that they're like purposefully trying to make playability worse. I just think until they have the time to focus on polishing the things that they've actually tried to put into the game, that's when things will start getting better. We don't even have a freaking cargo system yet, right? Been waiting 3 months for it. $100, 100 for a pie to the face. Y'all better show up early because we'll smash that in seconds, dude. Better be a good pie. It better be a good pie. Can we go to the Mrs. T? Can we go to the local bakery? They make good stuff. I'd like to eat the pie off my face afterward. You're almost doubling 4.0 this year. 324 was supposed to be 323, so we are, what, 3 months behind? Yeah. Basically. Hey, Citizen Jim. Are you the Citizen Jim that makes videos that I watch on YouTube? If so, good job. I like them. Keep it up. Is server meshing what is holding up 324 or just the cargo refactor? No, server meshing won't have any effect on 324. You thought they said all multi-crew were going to have engineering for 4.0? Maybe. I didn't know about that. Do you know it's been a little over a year since Ocean Gate? Random facts. Love me a Q&A. What's RMQ? Somebody else is going to have to answer that because I haven't looked at that much into that messaging. I literally haven't even played Evocati for 324. This has got to be the longest Evocati phase we've had. Star Citizen, Evocati phases. Let's see. Let's see how long these have been, because I think we've had some pretty long PTU cycles, but Evocati itself, I don't know if it's been this long. It's been over a month now. Oh no, 318 was in Evocati in October, and it didn't go to PTU till December, so that's like 2 months. Update releases for testing. Nah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find this list. I would be interested though in knowing what the other long Evocati cycles have been, because this is a long one. Gonna laugh, but I think 324 is harder to implement than server meshing. I laughed. You got me, Catchup. You came to my video from... put your content creator names here. He was negative about what you said, so I came here to be an echo chamber. Drazen, you're always an echo chamber, man. I'm behind in chat, I can tell. Technically falls under fair use copyright, which is why it can exist. I mean, technicalities are technicalities because they're technicalities. You could straight up murder somebody in certain situations and be like, well, technically that was okay. And it's like, yeah, but you still murdered someone. Next unicorn tech after server meshing is dynamic meshing. That's true. You guys seen the unofficial road to server meshing? My boy Unobtainium made a fantastic website here. And you can go in here and it's just all the receipts. It's very well done. It shows all the steps we followed for the back-end tech and server meshing and Star Citizen in general. And if you, any of these that you click into, any of these little things, you can click into it, you can check it out. It shows you what the references are up here in the top right-hand corner. So you go back to the main menu and you can come up here to the sources and you can find those references and it links back to every freaking video that CIG might have put out on it. All of the links are here. Spectrum forum posts are here. Roadmap updates are here. It's ridiculous. And it just goes all the way from object container streaming back we got in 2018 up to static server meshing, where we are right now, of course, along with sources. and the ultimate goal of a single shard dynamically server meshed game, which is probably, I don't know if that'll ever happen, but he's got all the receipts here and it's great stuff. I'll drop this link in chat as well. And if you want, like Echo said, I do have a video for that. It's called, I've done a couple of podcast episodes on the server meshing. Specifically, I talked to him in this one. So we had a good long talk. You can see that we've got the resource up right here. But we talked about it quite a bit. If you just search for Space Tomato, server meshing, Star Citizen, all of these different podcasts will come up. And if you're interested in server meshing, I would consider looking at that. It's good stuff. And I'm not biased at all, don't worry. Question is how robust 4.0 server meshing will be. Probably not super robust. Probably kind of a starter kind of system. But I hope it's good. I hope it is robust. Mr. Mago. Yo, thank you for the sub on Twitch. I appreciate you. Doing big things out here. Lycos, did I get you with that sub? 39 months? I saw that Twitch, though, has it wrong. Is it a different... Is it actually a different amount? How long you been subbed up, man? Yeah, Unobtainium did amazing work with that website. Also, another friend of mine, his name is Greg. He goes by Greg. He made a website that tracks all of the changes that they talked about doing from last year's CitizenCon. Let me see if I could find that. Not seeing that here. Hold on. Let's see. Greg Star Citizen features CitizenCon 2023. Maybe that'll make it pop up. Oh. It does not. Ah, his Reddit post does, though. So this is another good website that somebody has made for Star Citizen. And this is basically tracking all of the features that are getting delivered to Star Citizen that they talked about from last year's CitizenCon. I think Level Cap did include this in one of his videos. But the man that made this, he's a great graphics artist. He does some good stuff. And, you know, the community does a lot to help people understand what's going on with Star Citizen. I think this is a great way to watch what's actually going on from CitizenCon last year, especially because a lot of times it's believed that nothing from CitizenCon gets delivered. Now, I know they said that they wanted everything to get delivered, or almost everything, or as Chris said, maybe actually almost possibly everything gets delivered. But you can click into this and see how their progress is going throughout the year. Clearly, they're a little bit behind, but they aren't too far past halfway behind. So we'll see what they do with 4.0, but I don't think they're going to make it. You still look at the website-based star map and marvel at all the various systems, plus the way things are connected. You know what's extra points, extra good times? Do that same thing, pull up that star map, and then whenever you find something you're interested, go to Astro Historian's YouTube page and do a little search. Be like, huh, Tyrannus system. That's pretty cool. Okay, there's nothing on there. Sorry, that was I messed up there. Oh, the Terra system. Wow. What can I learn about that? And then you can have the star map open and you can listen to all the lore about it as you watch. Because Astro Historian, Astropub, Paul, whatever you want to call him, fantastic. Fantastic coverage of that kind of stuff. You were confused why the streak said 38, but the total is 39. You might have missed a month at some point. Like your second month, maybe you missed. In all fairness, development of server meshing is 10 times harder than cargo, but implementing once developed is a different beast. I do wonder what kind of stuff, like if they had to do anything with the cargo to make sure it was good for server meshing so they didn't have to rework anything for 4.0. Once it's implemented, we will start to see what sort of beast SC will shape up to be. Man, I pray and hope. I really do hope. You're gonna show the people at the architecture guys that work on the site and ask, why can't we do that too? Ain't nobody wants to spend this much time on a game. Nothing left to merit a 5.x. Probably not. Hey, that's us. I hate it when I search for Star Citizen, nothing from the official page pops up first. Yeah, Paul's a good guy. Fantastic guy. They could totally make an MMO out of that star map if they just added more menus and some tiny ships. Yeah, we could get a 4X game from Star Citizen. They just combine the Star Sim with the star map and give us that. Who cares about Star Citizen, right? You're concerned about the ship release schedule. 7 secret ships are slated for release soon, but you're trying to get a handle on the timeline. They will probably all be out by the end of the year. Not sure what they could be, though. We do have a couple obvious ones. See if I can find them. That one. Of course, that was the last time I was looking at this video. This one is, man, this is so strange to me. This section of this looks kind of Anvil. This section of this looks a little RSI. Back here looks a little Crusader. Like, I don't know what the heck this is coming from, but this ship and this ship both are probably 2 of the unknowns. I would assume. I mean, they did say they want these out within 12 months of this video, and this video is from November 1st of last year. You're hopeful for server meshing, but you also believe they will go through so many iterations of layout on the hardware side. Hardware and software side, right? 4.0 is just the next step of the alpha. 1.0 is their commercial release goal. Probably will be considered a release in the same way that Fortnite was in 2018, 2019. Like, still definitely getting some major things updated, but good enough for the public, or so they believe. Sometimes it makes itself so hard to love. I know what you mean, Joffrey. The new saber, yeah. Yeah, we're definitely getting that new saber they've been talking about. You think this is Crusader? Yeah, I think it's a possibility it's Crusader. It's an interesting size, though. As far as I know, this person here makes this look at the same size as or smaller than the Spirit series. So I'd wonder what they're aiming for with something like that. Is the SS Tomato Polaris going to launch with BLTs in the chow line? Oh, we're exclusively going with bacon. You don't have to worry about the lettuce or tomatoes. We kept those for later. Talking to new folks and even working at a place as prestigious as Pixar doesn't really pay much compared to the amount of work you have to put in. Here? Yeah, CIG doesn't have the luxury of paying somebody as much as somebody like Pixar might. What do I think is the realistic timeline for better AI in bunkers and making them more challenging during raids? Next year. I think next year we would be able to expect better AI. And the only reason I think that is because I'm hoping that server meshing can help to alleviate some of the strain on the servers running the AI. Yeah, it's got some Nomad feels to it. This specific body panel looks a lot like the both the Carrack and the Terrapin to me. And then whatever is right here on the top looks like it's a circular motif. And if you look at anvil ships, I mean, somebody name me an anvil ship in chat and I'll look it up and there's probably a circle on top of it. They love that. They fucking love their circles. C1 is the same size as the Zeus MK2 and you can see that later in the video where the person is much smaller. Right. Good point. Yeah. Yeah, so it's definitely smaller than the C1. Good call. This is a tiny ship. Yeah, could look a little bit like a hurricane. Again, you got something up here. Nautilus. Isn't the Nautilus Aegis? Can you get real bacon in Turkey? You can, actually. You want to know? Look at this. They call themselves Istanbul. Instead of Istanbul, Istanbul. I love it. I love these people. This is where we're going to be getting our pork from. We haven't ordered yet, but I'm looking forward to trying it out. Mainly because of the name, to be honest. Like, you guys won me over with that. That's just great. That's just good marketing. Medical Terrapin variant. That would be cool. Early concept of the Zeus? No, this isn't a concept. This is a ship that they are releasing. All of these are ships that they're releasing within the next year of this video. And this is the Zeus, which is much bigger. The Zeus definitely has more of that sleek RSI look to it. Whereas this has more of the kind of streamlined, but still a little bit chunky look of Crusader or Anvil. Valkyrie. Okay. Anvil ship, Valkyrie. Let's see if it's got the circle. See, I know some lore. I know a little bit of lore. I know what makes a ship manufacturer a ship manufacturer. I used to do videos on them. And if you look at the top, lo and behold, circular motif is the turret. Probably a better shot of that. Yeah. There it is. Give me another one. Front does look RSI though. You're right. Terrapin. Anvil Terrapin. We got a circle on the top. We got a circle on the top. It's the scanning dish. Boy loves their circles. Anvil also kind of likes their hexagons if you go on the inside of their ship. It's all hexagons. The big issue you discovered during previous server meshing tests was server spamming error messages. You think that's what RMQ addresses? Yeah. It has something to do with messages. I think you're onto something there. The Hawk, the Anvil Hawk, I believe it also has some kind of a scanning dish. But you'll find the circle on top of it. Ba-boom, ba-bang. Right there. Pisces. Ooh, does the Pisces have one? I think it does. I don't think it really does anything. But yeah, there it is. Little circle in the back there. So when you look at that, and all the ships that have that from Anvil, whatever this is, actually that's the other wing, I think. That's this on the other side. So maybe there isn't anything there. Might just be seeing things. Not that that makes the whole different. Carrack cockpit plus the Hurricane turret plus some cargo hab in it. Anvil premium starter guaranteed. It would be cool if it was a starter ship. It's a small ship, but it's pretty big for a starter still. This looks like it's at least 20 meters long, 25 meters. A spare tire. You are seeing things. Yeah, I think this isn't coming out of the center of the ship. I think it's on the other side of it. What if it's a collab ship? Now there's a twist. You had to carry like 20 pounds of frozen bacon on your trips to the Middle East. The immigration folks at airport had a disgruntled look. That's because they wanted some, dude. Did you share? They're like your third grade teacher. Did you bring enough for the whole class? Charlie, did you bring enough bacon for the whole f***ing class? It's been a while, man. I'm looking for that spitting good fat. They've mentioned a Crusader starter, right? I think I've heard that. The Normandy was a human Turian design. What's stopping SC from doing the same? They do. That's what Mirai is all about. This ship, this is basically a human alien design. They team up with the Xi'an to make these ones. A Frost Otis. Thanks for the sub, mate. Using your Prime, sticking it to the man. I like to think that our Prime subs are sticking it to Amazon because they got to pay for them. I appreciate you. Thanks for the support. You can totally get bacon in the Middle East, trust me. Oh, yeah. That was a website I just pulled up. Okay. Let's go back to the roadmap roundup recently. I have not even really looked at it yet. I just know that there are a couple good things they added to it for 4.0. Prime is basically a free sub. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free sub every month that you can put towards a streamer, and Amazon pays for the rest of it, essentially. Oh, the Raylan. If I'm not mistaken, at some point they said they were going to work on the Raylan after the Santokiai. Let's see. See if we can find that reference. Star Citizen Live. Invictus Week. Where the heck? All ships. All ships Star Citizen Live? Weird. All ships Star Citizen Live. 2951. Is this it?
Caveat, things can always change.
All right.
Polaris, Apollo, G12, Raylan.
I got you. I got you. He also said G12 there, which we have not seen anything about.
Polaris.
But these are the ships I think that they're working on, or the things that they were planning on working on. This is May of 2023.
For the we'll be showing you an update on the Santokiai for Alien Week in just a few weeks.
Montreal working on some variants of an existing ship. I'm just trying to mentally go around the floor.
That was the Cutter, I believe, the Cutter Scout and the Rambler.
Pretty sure that's all of them. Because
Retaliator stuff we're doing, we talked about before.
We got that this year, modularity.
G12?
G12 will be going, so in the next year.
John, my friend, don't give timelines.
Backlog ships that will be going into production.
Okay, he said going into production, not releasing.
Caveat, things can always change.
He also gave a caveat. Good job.
Polaris, Apollo, G12, Raylan, X1s.
I'm noticing something.
We did. The Polaris is in production, and the Apollo technically went into production. It just came back out of production after that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ban new.
So we'll talk about the Merchantman briefly, because we discussed like how we want to do the backlog of capital ships. So we want to start with RSI, because doing the Polaris first helps reduce the amount of work needed for the Perseus.
Okay, so clearly this kind of talking got set back because they made this same distinction at CitizenCon, and we're seeing it now with the Polaris. So obviously things went a little slower than were predicted.
The Galaxy. So those three will likely be like a chain of dependencies from each other.
Kind of shared assets.
Yeah, there's a lot of shared assets between them. Obviously, the exteriors are like quite different, but you do an RSI hall kit or corridor kit, floor kit, doors, beds.
chairs.
Yeah, it all gets reused across them, maybe with some slight material differences. So there are a few things that were problematic with the BMM. Firstly, everything is unique.
Everything.
So it's not like we do one corridor kit.
Can't be modular.
Yeah, it
It's
can't
so
be
many
modular. It has to be
bespoke shapes.
unique.
Yeah.
Nothing on the ship can be modular.
Yeah.
Every corridor, every room.
Everything's unique. So the amount of time invested.
This is the G12, for those wondering. It's a couple of different ground vehicles from Origin.
because of the shaping of the
They're basically like a cross between an Ursa and a Cyclone, in that they work like a Cyclone, but they do have an atmosphere sealed interior.
We had some.
So it's a unique vehicle.
Which
Shifty, thank you for the sub, man. 5 months on over on Twitch. Appreciate you, dude. You're also a member on YouTube. What you doing?
again, like we said, you don't get new staff members go, hey, welcome to the Banner Merchantman. Here's a completely bespoke thing that does not follow any of our existing art guidelines.
Yeah.
And all the time we would have put into that would be just for that ship. We get no reuse from it. So yes, we will do it again, but personally, I think the time is better spent on other capital ships to get people up to speed, and then we can start putting people back on it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of love within the team for the merchantman. I think.
Don't even think about the Merchantman, folks. Yo, Maverick and Dejoko, thank you both for the Prime subs. Did I introduce people to some knowledge about the Prime thing? I didn't know it when I first joined on Twitch, but it is pretty cool, especially because most of us do have Amazon Prime of some sort. I think Mrs. T has Amazon Prime. I was using Amazon Prime for a while, but for some reason wasn't getting charged for it. So I was extra sticking it to the man. Meanwhile, they were probably like actually charging me in some place I couldn't find. No, thank you though. I really appreciate it, guys. That means a lot. Their timeline guesses were more optimistic than reality. No. Wonder if we'll see them working on both the Galaxy and Perseus at the same time. That'd be interesting. I do really like the Galaxy. I think that overall, if I end up like in our org, if I end up doing any sort of long-term missions with people, the Galaxy might be my ship of choice. I do really like this. I think this is one of my favorite Star Citizen concept art. Just a back launching hangar bay from a multi-crew ship. It's like my Prometheus dreams coming to life. Although the Odyssey really is, in my opinion, Star Citizen's Prometheus. I don't know when we would get this. It's probably going to be a while. But this is what makes me feel the most Prometheus of all, and such a significant ship in that movie. Love it. Merchantman's still 9 years out. You're optimistic, my friend. Yeah, the Ranger is like a motorcycle with actual wheels instead of hovering. You'd love if they got the 600i rework done. Oh my god. Dude, that's the kind of like irresponsible marketing that they do too much of. Maybe that's a video on its own. There have been multiple ships now that people really love that they have just flashed updates to and ideas that they might release it, and it's like, that's not happening. It has stopped doing that. Unless you are sure that ship is coming out in the next year, stop showing us big ships that people love and saying that they're getting worked on. Because we all know at this point that things can happen. We are all very well aware that people might leave the company, somebody might get sick, something might happen that causes the ship to fall out of production. Like, you need to let that happen less. And both the 600i and the Banu Merchantman are two really big, really annoying examples of that. Wait, is the giveaway entry thing on Twitch still there? Oh, you gotta get your points back, Catchup. That's not active right now. Havoc, what's up, dude? Hey, if you guys know YouTube videos, my friend Havoc here, he makes them. Check him out. Go give his name a click. I don't know if you can click names on YouTube, but check out his channel. He makes good videos. He was on the podcast just a couple weeks ago. We had a great talk. Talked about if you should wait to play Star Citizen. And spoiler alert, you probably should. But I agree. Hover mode was cool, just wasn't done very well. You don't like the Odyssey? It looks like a pig? Oh, it looks like it flies like a pig. Okay. 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 I almost hopped out of the computer at you. People retiring or marrying and having kids by the time the Band of Merchantmen comes out. Hey, man. You know how people will come on these YouTube videos and like lay out their whole autobiography and be like, this game still hasn't released though. Like I went to school and I got married and then I took a rocket to the moon and I came back and then I developed a new form of French fry and this game is still not out. I've done a lot of that stuff. Straight up, when I found out about this game, I was going to school in Los Angeles. And now I am covering the game on YouTube in Turkey. And it's weird. When was Bounty Hunting V2 last discussed on an ISC? I think they mentioned it on SCL earlier this year just to say they weren't working on it. Havoc actually mentioned that in his most recent video, talking about better, us needing better standards for the 4.0 launch and beyond. I got you, dude. Personally, you don't mind if they delay big ships. Servers can handle them very well currently. Too much party desync. That's true. And I think that they've kind of timed it so that server meshing was coming around when capital ships started coming out. Just watched the podcast with Havoc last night. Nice. Yeah, that was good times. That was a good talk. Does it worry me that they are hyping 4.0 when they haven't dropped 324? No, 324 was not even planned to be an update. 324 is a very intermittent update. It's a big one, but it's not a blocker. So I think that it's better for them to focus on 4.0. Like we have squeezed 324 for all of the marketing it can be. And let's be honest, the hype is marketing. They don't have much more to say about 324. That being said, it's indicative of how slow this game can move that they have to talk about 4.0 before 324 is even out in our hands. That's annoying. What's in Gray Box, Jim? WoW has been going for 20 years. I was playing that back in high school. You're now 35. Yeah, but like that was out 20 years ago, you know? Although I do find it funny when people are like, my grandchildren are going to play this game. And I'm like, that's probably a good thing if this game's still around for your grandchildren to play. They did something. All this depends on the success of dynamic server meshing, which you assume will be in the 1.0 release next year? Definitely not next year, but I do think dynamic server meshing will have to be there for 1.0, yeah. 4.0 is not coming this year. Hey man, I'm not going to say whether it is or is not coming, because I don't know. But I think there's a chance that it could or could not be in this year. You bet we see dynamic server meshing before so that they can iron it out for 1.0. I agree with that, yeah. Question, what is the hangar size for most of the ships? Example, if you have a Carrack with the Polaris fit in your hangar. No, the Polaris is... I'm pretty sure it's decent size, bigger than the Carrack. Polaris is... a scrumptious diddly... Oops, I didn't mean to close that tab. A scrumptious diddly-umptious... 166 meters in length. And I'm pretty sure the Carrack is like 120, 140. I guess they're not that far off, but I think the Carrack is a large ship and the Polaris is a subcapital. Polaris is, I think, around 166, I just said, right? Yeah. After the updated model, it's 166, while the Carrack is toes 126.
If you're not playing video games, I will.
What are you playing? Whoa! Playing video games and killing the stream. What are you gonna play?
Cuphead.
Cuphead.
And by play, I just mean yell at it.
Mrs. Tomato's been on a Cuphead hype these past couple of weeks, and it's been good anger management, you know. It doesn't even say the length on here. That's weird. It just says the mass. Who cares about mass? I'm in space, baby. I know. Mass matters in space. Concept of 1.0 in 2025 and 26 comes from the background, where some of the investors' contracts with the CIG expire in 26. I think the investors are mostly interested in Squadron, no? I think 26 would make sense. Oh, you were saying the Banu Merchantman's in gray box. It's a long-term gray. You were told length isn't important? No, it's all about mass. How much does it weigh? Okay, let's get back to this roadmap roundup because I want to go through this stuff. Rave Master, thank you for the Prime sub. Appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for the Prime subs today. I appreciate that. That's magical. Fumanchu with the tier 1 sub, though. I see you. You're fairly new to Star Citizen, starting to figure things out. You have the Cutlass Black since some time ago. You put some money on the account. Your question is, what should you go with as your next ship? You're thinking about the Vulture so you can go and try out salvage missions. Now, are you exclusively looking to spend real money? Like, is there... If you're talking about in-game, I think you should go for a Prospector. If you're talking about with real money... I mean... okay, in-game... I would suggest a Prospector because you can make good money pretty quickly with a Prospector. And if you have a friend, that friend can do cargo hauling for your mining stuff. Because it does sound like in 324 we're going to be able to disconnect the mining bags from the Prospector and ship them out without your ship leaving. So you would basically be able to stay 100% of your time on a planet's surface mining rocks. Your friend comes in with... new empty mining bags, detaches your old ones, puts them on their ship, gives you the new ones, and then goes and sells that stuff or refines it while you continue mining. And I think that will be a fresh experience in 324 that we haven't been able to do before, and that's good money. Good money. Do I think we will hear more about cities at CitizenCon? You mean it's a big change if we get full-fledged mega cities like in Blade Runner and Cyberpunk? Good vibes. Can you ask me that again in a couple minutes after the roadmap roundup and we'll look at building interiors? I think there's a possibility we'll hear about it, but I don't know if they're ready to just yet. Since you backed Star Citizen, you graduated high school, completed university, got your degree, started your career in clinical pharmacy, having a baby, engaged. Congratulations. Honestly, I'm glad that your life moves so much faster than Star Citizen because it would be boring otherwise. Cheers to that. Mining can take some time to get money. Vulture might be a better bet. Is the Vulture not much more expensive than the Prospector? Because that might be a good call if that's the case. Mining is stable money, and it's, in my opinion, it is the most in-depth gameplay you can get in Star Citizen. Because you can do, you know, you get gadgets, you have different sized rocks, you have different materials, you can do refining. There's a lot to it. Okay. So, this is stuff added to the 4.0 roadmap recently. I'm sure you guys have heard mostly about this stuff. The RSI Zeus MK2CL is the cargo hauling variant of our Zeus Mark II. My favorite. I love it. I think it's a beautiful ship. I love the paint job on it. It's a good use of size, and it can carry like, what, 120, 130 SCU in a pretty compact size. And hopefully they stick with this design here of the telescoping tractor beam, because I think this would be an amazing design consideration compared to what we have right now in other cargo ships. But I'm still looking to see what is going to be the downside of this ship. This is an incredibly good ship for cargo hauling. It's got 2 entrances, which a lot of other ships this size don't have. Relatively well armored, a lot of SCU, space for multiple people. What's the catch? I don't think we're going to know that until they bring out the final specs. It's probably going to be something with speed, maybe with acceleration. It does not have VTOL, so there are other ships of this size class that do have VTOL. Maybe that will be something that hangs on it. But this is a solid ship for your small-scale cargo hauler, especially if you're going with 2 people instead of 1, because you'll be able to do more kind of maintenance work on this while you're flying. But the fact that this is now planning on coming with 4.0, I'm guessing, you know, originally they said that it wasn't supposed to be. So it seems 4.0 has been pushed back enough that the CL is now joining the ES. But they're going to wait for the MR, I think, until bounty hunting is coming into the game. Agbard, thank you for gifting out that community sub. I appreciate you, buddy. Weak weapons. Could be weak weapons. That could be it. Acidic caves. Implementing the acidic cave archetype come into both Pyro and Stanton systems, adorned with luminous pools of water and dramatic stalactites and stalagmites. These caves provide a captivating setting for exploration, FPS missions, missing person missions, and more. They provide a captivating setting, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're getting them. I've been a little disappointed with their cave additions ever since they added the first ones, as we have not been getting good gameplay in these caves. I think the fact that we don't get good gameplay and there aren't really NPCs in these caves regularly is a huge letdown for these locations. Yeah, they'll be great for the future, but right now, they aren't that great. I enjoy that they're going to be adding water in these caves, though. That's a good sign. Water in caves can eventually add some pretty interesting gameplay implications, I think, especially if water becomes a resource we can harvest and need. Of course, because locations first and gameplay later. But shall I show you when we got our first caves? Trust me. If anybody's going to say locations first and gameplay later, it's me. I've been hawking that line for 5 years now. But we have had caves. We have had planetary navigation from AI. We have had the ability to put AI in caves. Because of server meshing, we can't do it as well. But we need something from these caves to be able to do. Rock caves, though, I'm glad to be seeing getting updated. This is something they talked about as well. Monthly reports. See if we can guess it. I want to say May 2023 monthly report. If this is right, I get a cookie. They've been working on these for a little while. I think they started working on them after they did the sand caves, because that was supposed to be like their going forward model for caves. No, this is just talking about the mini-map feature that will help caves and landing zones, so I was wrong. I did not get the month correct. One more guess. June. Oops. Nope. I give up. All the spaceships in game should have some level of VTOL. I disagree. I think if every spaceship in the game had VTOL, there'd be less reason to choose specific spaceships. Clipper has extra thrusters under the wings. Okay, so they probably have included some form of VTOL on that ship. What could possibly take the CL any longer than the ES, given cargo is basically a blank box in the ES? I don't know, man. I mean, designing it, like literally just the minimal effort of designing that extra space is, it could add an extra month on to the work because they're also doing work on other ships. At the end of the day, you know, maybe it's an extra 15 hours of work, and that's 15 hours they didn't think they'd fit in for 4.0. But now that 4.0 has been pushed back a bit, they can. What do I think is happening in the background that the servers this weekend were a mess? Oh, you know, just standard Star Citizen running in the background, struggling. Asteroid bases. Implementing new asteroid bases scattered across space in asteroid clusters, gas clouds, and other areas of Pyro. From exploration-type gameplay to mission-based locations, these bases include both constrained interiors for potential FPS conflicts, as well as space combat while reaching or fleeing from the location. This last bit of this, space combat while reaching or fleeing from the location, specifically the fleeing, I am going to put on my hopium glasses and hope that means that there's maybe a little more narrative to the mission. Because if you're gonna get combat while fleeing from a location, that kind of means it needs to be triggered in some way. So I'm just hoping that maybe that means that something happens while you're in the asteroid base that makes contacts spawn outside, which is at least some level of variability to the location that we don't really get that much right now. Now, asteroid locations, I don't know. We saw this at in the partner development talk at CitizenCon 2022, and I know it was on the progress tracker for a while. They finished up a while ago. Asteroid facilities, 53 weeks of work, persistent universe, handcrafted traversable areas offering different gameplay opportunities both in the interior and exterior. Finished up Q2 2023, at least from what we see here. I think they might have talked about this a bit on the monthly report, but we haven't had much about this besides their, like, literally just a couple of seconds that they showed off one, and I think that was for Squadron 42 anyways. Oh, not that. This.
Yeah, that's also the old...
Of course, it was the last thing we were watching on this video. What do you know?
Yeah, but basically the way places fall out of boost. But we've gone over to the...
So this is the only time I think we've ever seen anything that's asteroid-based looking. And I'm pretty sure this is a Squadron 42 asset. But they have been in work, as we see with the progress tracker. Pretty sure... Let me check something real quick. The only other footage that I think I have that pertains to this is a quick look from an ISC a few years back. I don't know what it would be saved as.
Thank you very much.
Ooh. Jaybird. Congratulations getting that membership from Warren. Thank you, Warren, for gifting out a sub. Really appreciate that. No, I don't think I have this saved. What else would it be under? Maybe POI? Kinda doubt it, though. Man, what would that be saved as? Asteroid, POI, space flight? Merlin? I think it was the Merlin they were flying. Yeah, here we go. So this is the location they showed off back in 2022, talking about it being in Pyro. And you can kind of tell this is inside of an asteroid of some sort. So I do think this is probably related to what they're talking about here. But this is earlier in the development cycle. It does look interesting, though. You know, you're flying through more of a confined space. I have no idea what kind of gameplay implications it has, but at least it's a new location. Ethnification, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Hey, I know you were asking about when we're doing our streamathon. Currently, we've got it scheduled for Friday night over here, so Friday daytime. Mrs. Tomato has whipped up a beautiful graphic for this with all the stuff going on. You'll see this posted either on Discord or Twitter or wherever sometime this week. Tonight. Hope to see you there. You think the game will get there? It's just a slog right now with waiting for the last couple pillars. Yeah. Just think it would be a basic feature of spaceships 900 years in the future. I mean, 900 years in the future, we'd probably have computers that track every missile that's flying towards our ship and shoot them down, but the game's not going to be fun without that. They need to make sure things are difficult in certain ways so that gameplay can be a little bit more diverse for certain players. You missed the golden days of MMOs. Take you back to the 2000s. You remember playing a WoW free trial back in the day. Got to see what they were like. Guild Wars 2. I played RuneScape back then. Have some experience with it. I wish I played Star Wars Galaxies back then. They still planning on adding the asteroid belt to Stanton they talked about a long time ago? The asteroid belt is there. I think the big thing they need to add to it is something they're calling quantum obstacles. And I think that comes in with the new version of quantum travel, which basically means a dense asteroid belt we won't be able to actually travel through. Quantum travel wise, we'll have to go up and around it, which would call for some way to limit those asteroid belts, which would introduce the Aaron Halo belt gates, which are meant to provide a clear section through the Aaron Halo belt. So the belt is there, you can go mine it and stuff, but right now we can just fly straight through it. And I think maybe they will limit that and require us to meet these sort of entry points. They said Nyx was done in terms of planet tech back in 22. Factions, missions, all the stuff that comes with the reputation and stuff, they probably still are working on that. In the video last week, they showed another player entering someone's hangar. There was a trespass time around 30 seconds, so potentially a griefer could enter your hangar, kill you, and loot quick. That's true. The idea that you can't take a drink from a mouthpiece with a helmet on in the gazillionth century is weird. You gotta pledge for the specific helmet. Can't wait to see all the complaining about these gates. All changes bring complaints. It's the rule of law. Where are the teleporters? They do have some pretty interesting lore, you know, to describe why technology has stagnated so much in this game. It's up to you whether or not it makes a lot of sense, but the idea that the Star Citizen universe was held back by an autocratic dictatorship that basically killed anybody that disagreed with them or tried to get too technologically advanced does help make some excuses for why things aren't as advanced as you'd expect. They were literally like, hey, y'all are too smart. We're going to kill you. And then once they were gone, we were able to go to aliens and be like, hey, can you help us with some more technology? Cool, thanks, awesome. Great friends. Because the devs have limited imaginations? F off with that, dude. That's just dumb. Come on. God. Limited imaginations? Really? You think that's what's going to hold a video game back and not, like, I don't know, the technology of the video game itself? Like, it needs to be fun. What's the point of adding everything, making it AI advanced and coming up with super crazy ideas that are just going to take away from the gameplay we could have if the game was set 200 years in the future? That's just silly to me. I think like you can decide how things progress. Like they could literally say, okay, you know what? You guys don't like this whole 900 years in the future, not enough. Cool, we're just going to condense it. It's the year 2230. And then what do we say? Oh, well, if it's 2230, I guess it's all okay. Like, it's their choice what the time is. It doesn't matter how technology has advanced or not. They get to say it. It's literally what you get to do when you create a fiction. And the number's just a number. At the end of the day, the technology is whatever it is. You have gripes about some of the lore, and to be fair and honest, but the setting is great and you can look past it. I think some of the lore is unexplained. The colonial era of the way that they laid out the lore, it does feel like things progressed in one segment at a time. Like, while we're colonizing space, we wouldn't just focus on colonizing space. We'd also be developing tech back home. But the idea that the game is held back by imaginations would be wild to me, because imagination can go as far as you want. It's more a limitation, in my opinion, of the actual game. Eve has this problem as well. It works for them, but every ship can be used by one person and it feels bleh because of that. Do I think we will see mission givers for Pyro in 4.0? That's a good question. I would say no. I don't know, though. That could be a little surprise they have. But I don't know. Your big problem is that the government structure makes no sense? How so? I know Paul's got a bone to pick with that take. Because of the... What's the name of that YouTube channel that put out the video that said the lore makes no sense? I can't remember. I can't remember his name. But yeah, he had a lot of gripes with the government structure. We use suspension of disbelief in film all the time. We need to understand that we need to do this in video games too. It's their universe. They get to make the rules. I just always go back to the fact that they could basically just wipe out 400 years from the idea and say it's actually only 200 years in the future, and then we'd have nothing to complain about other than the fact that they moved the timeline. Templin institution, that's right, that's it. DV Ghost said, there are a ton of them complaining about SC. I think this one was Templin institution, I think, put out a video that really resonated with people. Because I do hear about the government complaints quite a bit. And I don't know what to say about that. I've never made a government, and I don't know what it's supposed to be in one. They probably got some stuff that they needed to figure out still for the lore in order to make it make sense. But I would go to Astro Historian for that argument. That's his neck of the woods. Gaming Bolt. There's a company that just developed propellantless propulsion without using solid fuel. It would be a perfect match with a fusion reactor. You talking about ion engines? They have low delta V, but ion engines are propellantless, and they have been working for quite some time. You wouldn't say anything is held back by imagination, but Chris Roberts vetoes and approves very specific ideas, so a lot of the game is specifically his imagination, and I'd imagine some other ideas aren't making it in because of that. Not saying that's bad, just what it is. Yeah, I bet. It's mind-blowing that more and more players leaving. The servers are empty, AC is empty, and before it was most servers full. Now it's like max 76 players. Rest is low population. Welcome to the Star Citizen cycle, my friend. The longer they take to get an update out, the more people don't play. The UEE, it's kind of not present in Stanton because the corpse runs Stanton. That's true. I'm guessing they mean like the structure that they've set up in the lore. As a democratic government trying to get away from an autocratic regime, they have it structured exactly as an authoritarian regime. Yeah, I don't think they're doing a great job of getting away from an authoritarian regime, to be honest. Made a similar video from what you found? No. Something else from ion engines? You restructured it a bit to work a bit better and make sense. You even kept the Roman Empire naming conventions and everything. Some of the same people who were in power are still in power. Ooh. Okay, the last thing on here is space stations contested zones. Contested zones are a location feature coming to Pyro space stations. Introducing FPS... this is where those neutral zones I bet are coming from that they mentioned. Introducing FPS gameplay with various layouts tailored for this purpose. The zones will feature a progression system requiring tokens to unlock different zones, giving access to the loot inside. Collecting all of the tokens will allow a player to open the final door and claim the grand prize. Why does that sound like a Arena Commander mode put in the PU? What was that? Which monthly report was that they mentioned neutral zones? Neutered zones. Was that June? Oh, hey, here's the acidic caves. You got the water, stalagmites, stalactites. Remember, stalactites are hanging from the ceiling, tight. I still use that tip. What monthly report was that? Was that April? Or am I just not searching for the right thing? They talked about tokens in Pyro Space Station. Check Citizen. Here we go. Alongside several issues and improvements to reputation-based hostility, a new neutral zone was added. This is a special restricted area that all players have permission to be in, with NPCs ignoring reputation relationships and criminality and reacting neutrally to everyone. However, access will be revoked for any non-justified hostile act, with everyone else seeing that person as hostile and attacking accordingly. I don't know if that's related. It does kind of sound similar. Oh, CitizenCon? They talked about tokens in the Pyro space station. I'm wondering what they mean by tokens, but this sounds a little weird. Why wouldn't something like this be used for the reputation system instead of tokens? They said they're covering this on Inside Star Citizen this week, right? Probably a good idea. Wait, have we not? Oh, right. Today's Monday. They mentioned that on Star Citizen Live, I guess. Feel like server meshing is mostly for more content and gameplay. The extra players are a bonus. They might only start with 200. I hope that's the way they do it. Yeah, it sounds a little weird. Tokens to access resource network. Mentioned in the CitizenCon. Actually, why don't we just look this up the old-fashioned way? I don't see anything from CitizenCon last year. They did used to talk about tokens, like in terms of NPCs targeting you.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming in. This is your captain speaking. Tomato will be with you shortly.
Ooh, Super Mac brother. Yo, dude. Hey, it's been a little while. How you doing? Thank you for the raid, buddy. Appreciate you and your Star Citizen reporting knowledge. Thanks for dropping by. Welcome in, Super Mackers, Super Brothers, Mac Brothers. What's the group called? What do you guys call yourself? Hey, it's JP. Good to see you, dude. Welcome in on Twitch, folks. We are doing some chatting, some debating, some Star Citizen watching, because you know that's really that's the best thing we can do right now. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in here with the Mac Attack. Welcome in. I hope you've been having a good day. You guys are probably talking about some Star Citizen stuff as well, I imagine. Tokens will be something like an encrypted key to open the next level and grab loot. Is that what they said? If you have the time, yeah, let me know that. It'll be easier than a timestamp itself. So we've got reputation linked to progression. Marcus. Hey, dude. How you doing? Scott Simmons, good to see you. Cat Navito. You wonder if visiting Pyro will be fun if PvP is lurking behind every corner. Gotta have something tickling the back of your neck. Progression from reputation, entry deck, alternate traversal, multiple routes, environmental exploration, maintenance routes, connections, side routes, stealth, variety of routes. Each station layout is unique, vent routes. Got reputation stuff. Tertiary paths, exploration and looting. That's what it says on the description for the contested zones. Don't know what form the key will be, but it's used to progress in the zone/dungeon. No Man's Sky is not a true MMO. It's more of a multiplayer game. I still consider No Man's Sky a pretty single-player focused experience. Resource network system. Maintenance hatches one. Okay. Station access points. I imagine this is where it would be.
The choice to access the station through multiple EVA points on the exterior. It gives you the choice on how to tackle missions and reputation issues. These alternative entries allow the player to circumvent the ATC loop completely. Useful for when your reputation with the owners would normally prevent you from going through more official ways. These server spaces that provide content aligned or against the owners of the station. The maintenance hatch access points are a new common sub-location to the stations. The stations are planned to house maintenance areas that increase the interconnection between all the different sub-areas of the station. They act as alternative pathways the player can take to traverse from the entrance area to the Galleria, for example. Now let's have a look at our main social space. The market. A central location for the controlling faction, it houses all their nefarious activities. You can participate in their endeavors if you have the right rep. Let's have a look at some of those key features.
Didn't really mention any access tokens, just reputation. What's up, Tej? How you doing today? Is this our token? The slug that you eat the butt of? Little... Dude, basically, it looked like he was just rubbing it on his lips. Creep.
So the market is a social hub, and a good example of mixing social and gameplay space, as mentioned by Khan earlier. Another reputation gate can be found in the market. The ground floor is open to the common public. The upper floor is reserved to rough and ready outlaws and their associates. If you have increased reputation, you can access the area. You can access this area, which gives you access to premium items, top-tier mission givers, and access to new areas. We plan to house mission givers in both tiers that will give you unique jobs to further your reputation and fame across Pyro. Now let's have a look at another theme. Abandoned is a new, non-social location theme. Let's have a quick look at the current abandoned area on Shenmue.
Cursed chapstick. In Star Citizen Live, they spoil the next 12 weeks of videos. Oh, maybe I should check that out. What, that was towards the end of the episode? I haven't watched that yet. Three hours, 7 minutes, and 44 seconds. Oh, I'm guessing that's like on the day 2 of the day 2 of CitizenCon.
Thank you. So we have entire abandoned stations as separate locations. On top of that, there are abandoned areas within the rundown station.
Okay, let me see if I can go back to that. Day 2. 3 hours, 7 minutes, and 44 seconds.
Ways they will be able to power up or down entities such as turrets, gates, and doors, and also alter life support systems.
Hey, it's Khan.
And also, this ties into security systems. So, being able to power up or down certain sections of a security system And security systems, in turn, will be dependent on security tokens that you will be able to grab from other NPCs in your environment to then gain access to other terminals, to security terminals or NPCs in your dependent on security tokens. Security systems, in turn, will be dependent on security tokens that you will be able to grab from other NPCs in your environment to then gain access to other terminals, to security terminals or other areas.
All right. So that's really it. It's just based around security. So then this could actually be the first sign of their security systems that we've waited such a long time for, actual in-game security systems as opposed to armistice zones or artificial blocks.
And also this ties into security systems. So being able to power up or down certain sections of a security system. And security systems, in turn, will be dependent on security tokens that you will be able to grab from other NPCs in your environment to then gain access to other terminals, to security terminals or other areas.
Okay. I didn't think that kind of thing would be in the first iteration, but we'll have to see how they do it. Luckily, sounds like they're going to be doing that, introducing that with 4.0. And you're telling me that at an hour and 8 minutes in, they talk about what's coming next in terms of coverage. Let's see.
Cloud Imperium Games. No reasonable information was discerned at any time. Be sure to tip your waitress. Tell Jarnator he's wrong every time you can. Be sure you tune in if you haven't. Check out this week's episode on hangers and freight and Alpha 324. Answers a bunch of questions about the new personal persistent hangers.
No, that was great, Alexander. Thank you so much for that. Good memory on you. Appreciate you pointing me towards it.
And stuff that are coming alongside, also how manual loading and automatic loading works, the search function coming to all the kiosks and stuff like that, and the removal of armistice zones. Well, I guess you don't have to watch it because I just told you everything.
Thanks.
Tune in next week. Where we're back to our Alpha 4.0 stories with a look at Pyro space-based activities. Once you go through the jump point, some of the cool things you get to do when you're in space, including, remember, if you watch the public roadmap this week, we revealed asteroid bases and contested zones. You're going to learn all about them next week's show. So
it's good to know that Pyro is coming with things that are actually changing gameplay. It's not just a fresh coat on the game. It's not just another star system. They're introducing things that are distinctly different from Stanton. That's probably something that people were really worried about.
So be sure to check that out.
That's actually something that we can provedly show that people were really worried about, myself included. We had plenty of reasons to believe that it would be different, but we didn't know how much of that would come in that first iteration. And honestly, considering they first introduced the idea of Pyro coming into the game to us 4 years ago, it would be incredibly disappointing if there wasn't something that actually made it unique.
Contested zones. I'm not usually the hype guy, but contested zones.
What? What the Jared? He's not usually the hype guy? Did I just hear that right?
For my money, are probably the most exciting aspect of 4.0 for me. It's a whole new kind of gameplay experience. So be sure to check that out. Then the next week after that is Fire. We haven't talked about Fire for a while. We're gonna go back and talk about Fire, which is also coming.
Ooh, I'm gonna love doing a deep dive on Fire with y'all. Oh my gosh, Fire goes so far back. Like I could give you a little preview right now. We got plenty of Fire footage. This feature is like one of those really long-term ones. We got 2024 footage right here, right? But if we go all the way back in the archive, no, I don't even have. Here we go. 2020. This is when they were just testing the ability for things to catch on fire. Like this is all just engine development kind of stuff. It's going to be fun going through the history of the Fire development. They did a lot of interesting stuff with this. Here's some more. This is 2022. Looking at how it interacts with the engineering and life support system. Fire and life support are super, super closely intertwined because obviously fire eats up your oxygen and oxygen fuels fire. And heats up. So that'll be interesting.
It's finally making its way to the persistent universe in 4.0. I don't know if that's on the public roadmap or not, but we're talking about that. And then we go back to Pyro down service side with an episode entirely dedicated to the social experience. You might say social experience in Pyro. I'm like, yes, there are things to do in Pyro besides fight.
That I'm very sick of hearing that Pyro is just going to be all griefing and all killing people and all fighting. You know what people don't understand? Can I have a little close-up? For the amount of people that want to kill folks just by breaking the rules, imagine how many other people want to f those guys up and feel justified for it. I know there are people in the chat who love murdering people, but like to do it when they're allowed to, as opposed to just going around and doing it nonstop. So, like, the idea that Pyro is only going to be a bunch of murder hobos killing each other and trying to see who can get the biggest killing streaks, totally forgetting all the people who want to be bounty hunters, who want to hunt down these people, who want to be like the police of the system and just secure areas. It's really nice if you get to kill people and not get in trouble for it, right? So I think it's worth considering that Pyro is going to have plenty of folks that are out there to actually help and keep you safe. Maybe extort you a little bit, but still do combat stuff without being rude about it. So I'm glad that they are going to go over the social aspects of the system, because Pyro is going to be one of the more dangerous systems in the entire game, and even then there's still going to be things that you do that aren't related to combat, which is nice. Awinid. How do I say that? Awinid or Awinid? Thank you for the sub. Appreciate you with the prime. Also recent member of GII, if I'm not mistaken. Saw you in the chat asking about that. Welcome. You get to talk to people in between murder sprees. Yes! You have to tell someone you're murdering them before you murder them. Awinith. With a TH. Okay. Unexpected. I'll remember that, though. Thank you for the prime sub. Appreciate it. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. What else is there, Jared?
Yes, I know a lot of people are thinking it's just going to be this giant meat grinder of stuff, but there's actually a whole lot of content being built.
Saying the same thing.
Fighter. For the lovers like John Griffiths. And then after that, we take our break for the Ship Showdown with our Gavin Rothery special, and then we're back to Pyro with an episode entirely dedicated to fighting, because, I mean, there's a lot of fighting and a lot of cool new...
He's like, it's not all fighting, but there's a lot of fighting. Okay, sure. Ship Showdown, I honestly don't care about. I'm sorry for all the people who love that. I'm happy for you. That's good. It's fun to celebrate ships. Ships are very not that important to me because I prefer the features and the gameplay stuff that comes with them. But sure, we'll do an episode on that. Tiny Home Gaming, thank you for the Prime sub. And Brennigar, y'all are killing it with Prime today. Appreciate you guys with the subs. It's Welsh. Okay. I can say the one experience I've had with Wales, I took a train through the country, and I could probably name like 3% of the signs that I saw, because the names get really long. So, thank you. Awinith is probably one of the easier Welsh things I've ever seen to pronounce. The problem they have at the moment is that it's difficult to tell the two parts apart. We need better ways to distinguish friends versus foes. The current red indicator is lackluster. Yeah, no kidding. FPS radar and scanning, I hope helps with that. Definitely. And I wish there was a good way to be able to tell if a ship had their weapons hot or not, like an Elite Dangerous. We need to vote the Spirit. I need you. Maybe we'll do something for the Spirit. It is a nice ship. Renegar, thank you for the sub. Appreciate the job we do. It's good fun. Yeah, features, but we all know ships sell the game. Ships do sell the game, but for what it's worth, the funding of this game goes up when the game plays better. not when ships come out. If they release good ships while the game is in a crappy situation, the funding is worse than if they release bad ships while the game functions well. Because the more people are playing, the better for them. So, at the end of the day, features, baby. Stability, baby. Come on.
Stuff to fight with in that episode. So check that out. And then after that, we're just it's engineering and life support and another creature feature and
Life
stuff.
support.
And
Whoa.
just lots of cool stuff.
Another creature feature. I hope that's the pyro crab.
Zeus and MFDs. We got a lot of episodes as we between now and CitizenCon. So I don't know why I felt the need to tell you.
Okay. So that kind of confirms that 4.0 isn't coming out before CitizenCon, right? Like, right? Why would they be doing 4.0 ISCs up until CitizenCon if 4.0 is coming out before CitizenCon?
Do all that stuff just now, but I did.
Hope you're writing it down.
I really do keep most of this stuff in my head. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Good to know.
If I made a joke in poor taste, don't take it too seriously. We like to have fun here. And always remember that video games are fun, and making video games are fun.
Week before.
And
maybe they try and get into PTU before CitizenCon and then go live for that. That'd be big. They could put out the 4.0 trailer and everything for that. Interesting. Okay. Well, I think he probably didn't mention some stuff there. I'm still hoping that we get the quantum travel rework for 4.0, but maybe not. Just harped on that recently. Would you harp on, Havoc? Okay, so interesting stuff. What time is it? Oh, we're doing good. Please, not another pyro panel at CitizenCon. Seen one of those. You've seen those for more than 6 years. I feel like there was 1 year where they skipped talking about, was it 2021 where they didn't talk about pyro per se, or was it they didn't talk about server meshing? They dropped the idea of 4.0 or pyro for one of the years CitizenCon. I don't remember which one it was. Let's see. This was 2021. They did talk about life in the verse here. So there was, let's see. Yeah, I guess technically Life in the Verse did show a demo in Pyro. That's right, yeah. And then also server meshing. 2020, we didn't have CitizenCon. Yeah, I guess technically 2020 we didn't get it. 21 though. And in 2022, they definitely talked about Pyro and Outlaw Lifestyle. Planetary Pyro. 2023, that was last year. So I guess it was just 2020 that they didn't, technically didn't talk about it. We didn't even get a CitizenCon that year. So they didn't get the chance. Saved themselves from it. They did their best. Oh yeah, yeah, they put something out. All right, building interiors. This is something that somebody asked about earlier, and I see you asking about it again in chat. I don't think this is going to be a 4.0 thing. This feels as significant as base building. This is a big deal for this game, and I know it's included in the whole journey to 4.0 thing. They just liked using. Whoa, I'm sorry. They just liked using this splash screen that year. This is what's going to make ArcCorp a fun planet to use, though. This is also what's probably going to introduce us to a lot more gameplay around landing zones than just leaving. It's the main gameplay of landing zones, leaving. What is the difference between Star Citizen server meshing and Ashes of Creations? Did they collaborate on it? They announced it at similar times. Star Citizen announced server meshing a long time ago. A long time ago. Ashes of Creation, I believe I haven't looked into their own video on it yet. I was planning on doing that. I wanted to do a whole conversation with one of their creators on that and you know, do a little back and forth about them. Didn't.
What happened? Huh? What happened?
For those of you who have seen Mrs. Tomato's recent tweets about reaction content and why we aren't huge fans of it, one of the creators for Ashes of Creation reacted to my video on server meshing, and so we reached out to him to try and have him join us for the podcast so that we could talk about it and the differences between them. And with that, I was planning on going over Ashes of Creation server meshing so that I could have some knowledge on that to talk to him, but he never answered us, so I never ended up getting into that. Don't know why. He just never said anything. But I don't know exactly what the difference is because I haven't looked into their model that much. They're different. They're definitely different in different ways. Specifically, the dynamic server meshing Star Citizen is doing, how that's linked into their persistence and replication layer. It's, you know, you get down into the details. They didn't collaborate on it. It is a technology that a lot of different companies are attempting to use. It is a generic technology. It's not specific to CIG. It's something that you can do in different ways. And so every game has to figure out their own specific model of how they want to mesh servers and share that data. So they're not going to be exactly the same. Rockstar is also working on their own method, allegedly, for GTA 6 Online, and I'm sure there are other games that are doing something like that too. The Spatial OS, which was used for scavengers, was doing something like that. Rudimentary versions of this have been used in MMOs for decades. So they're not exactly the same, but it is getting around the time where that technology is becoming more and more available to companies to create and utilize. So we will start to see it more and more pop up with online games. Yeah, I think actually GTA 6 and Star Citizen might have quite a bit in common in terms of development. Specifically, one of the things that we are about to look at with interior design, I do think that building interiors, this kind of technology and stuff they're doing is something that Rockstar is probably working on as well. He doesn't really do people. I mean, he did. He just didn't pick me. I don't really know why. Can I do a reaction video of him not responding? Is that where I just sit here and look at my email box and wait for it to pop up? I think that Asmongold wanted to do something with him. He didn't do that either. We also reached out to Asmongold. Everybody who's done reactions we've reached out to, almost not a single person answers to come and talk. They just want to talk over the video and then not talk to me. So that gets annoying. How Rockstar is leagues ahead is what? Server meshing is not that complicated in principle, but the implementation in SC because of the scale is what is crazy. Yeah, it's a lot of data. It's a whole bunch of data. Anyways, they didn't work on it together, but we will be seeing it happening in more and more games. Here is building interiors, though. This is a pretty interesting development that they're working on for Star Citizen 2. They haven't talked about it much because they've been busy with interior underground facilities and distribution centers and stuff, but maybe we'll see them doing more of this. Why would you want them to react anyways? I don't. I want them to talk to me. That's what I want. Anyways, let's check this out.
All right, so with building interiors, the way in which we approach the concept development, now this was just a pure blue sky ideation phase, and the idea was to create inspirational material to use that as a content to inspire conversations, to find out what do we want to do for the game, what is cool for the game, and use that as the initial springboard for the conversation. So what we'll be looking through here is a presentation.
Oh, you were asking how Rockstar. I wasn't saying Rockstar and CIG are common. I'm saying that the paths that their games are following are common. Building interiors is one thing they're both working on. Server meshing is one thing they're both working on. The persistence is something that has been rumored to also be working on with Rockstar. Both of the games have taken 9+ years and hundreds of thousands of dollars more than most other games to create. They're both developing a single-player version of the game alongside a multiplayer version. It's just there's a lot of parallels between the two games being developed. That's what I meant.
Blue Sky Ideation, primarily used as a springboard to start conversations with Chris, with the design director, and the game director to understand what do we want to put in the game? What could be cool for the game? And we use that as that initial inspiration point. So when we're talking about building interiors, how could we start to break that down? So right off the bat on the top, it's the rooftop spaces. So these would be the primary access points for the player. Then just below that, the maintenance spaces, these could be industrial or technical. Also, we can have residential. So residential could be entire building blocks, so it could be a proportion. Then after that, we've got commercial. So these could be shopping, it could be offices, it could be social. And then at the bottom, obviously, we've got lobbies. Now, these also could be access points for the player. For example, if you're inside Area 18, the player can get access to it there. And then lastly, we've got the underground. Now, these could be interesting as a connector space between buildings. So maybe you've gone in through one building, you go down, and it could bring you through to another part of a building.
I'm really hoping that that is a sign that their underground facilities will connect to the cities in some way. Maybe if they build an underground facility like a couple kilometers from Lorville, you could use it to get to like smuggle into the city instead of going through the official security.
Now, up until now, we've largely designed our cityscapes to be more of a backdrop to the landing zone. We have the social space generally in the middle, and then the cityscape goes around it. And they've been designed to give the best composition, to be interesting to fly around, but we've not really thought about designing these buildings from the inside out. So what we're looking at here is some potential concepts for what could be interesting landing spaces that drives the architecture of the building. With landing pads, it doesn't necessarily need to be on the top of the building. It could be, halfway down or lower. So imagine, you're in the lower parts of the city, and then we'd open up these additional play spaces. And as you can see here, it's not just the landing pad.
I'm trying to resist the great marketing here,
no, it doesn't,
but I love the hype.
Need to be a single building. Imagine there is a network hub that services a few different buildings. So what we're looking at here is maybe like a transit hub where the player could land, get on some transit, and then that would lead to some buildings. Okay, so maintenance spaces. So these could be really interesting in terms of player interaction.
You just come in here and it's just a single computer.
The power or the maintenance of the building. And then also you could have technical spaces. So these would be more for technicians. It could deal with the data or the communications. And what we're looking at here is potential some, gameplay puzzles where the player has to work their way inside the main operation booth.
Now, for what it's worth, this video obviously has a lot of could be this, could be that, maybe this. The guy who's talking, Ian Leyland, is the art director. He's not making gameplay. So his role is to make these things in terms of concept to deliver to the design team so that they can then come up with, here's what we're actually doing here. Here's what it can kind of look like. Now we can start to develop it. This is like what they did with UGS before we got distribution centers. So this was early stuff that they were showing us. And this was the beginning of last year. And I can show you real quick that we did get at least one look at the development on this. Okay, that's not right. Nope, that's what we're watching right now. I know for a fact that we have that footage. Where is that? Here we go. So this is all we've seen of this so far. This was supposed to be an apartment building that they were doing building interiors for. And you can see like he gets out of the elevator bank and there's a whole lobby here. It kind of looks like the apartment building in Cyberpunk to me. and we'll see a concept art that looks a little bit like this, but the idea was that this is where Habs would be, this is where player housing could be that wasn't in the main building. Just another place to live, basically. And this was the first part of that, where they kind of get out of the ship on the landing pad upstairs. You head over to the elevator, and then you can take the elevator down into the lobby area. So they did a little bit of white box work on this, but not that much. This is mostly just an art talk.
So moving on to residential. So there's a huge amount of potential here. What we wanted to do with residential is two things. One, explore investigating the potential player housing. So with that, we want to be able to create...
Why is there a conversation in chat about what is an edgelord? Distribution centers, that team was moved to help with that. Yeah. These were the people who were going to work on this ended up going to the distribution centers.
The interior layouts. And also we want to explore...
Okay, why do I keep getting comments in chat today about players are leaving? Players are leaving. They always leave. This happens every patch cycle. What is this? Did somebody put out a video that talked about players leaving? It's how it works. Players leave. It happens every patch. Watch the numbers. It's okay. Players leave No Man's Sky, and then they come back when there's an update. Players leave Halo Infinite, and then they jump back in with, well, maybe not as much though. But like, that's what happens. If players want to leave, they should leave. That's how games work. Let them go. It's okay.
A variety of architectural styles. So when we're looking at potential housing layouts, we wanted something fairly modular in a way in which we could create a variety of combinations. So whether it's living spaces or habitation spaces or social spaces. And also here we're looking at, we want the players to eventually be able to populate the player-owned habitation. So you see here like a first indication of how, the sort of dressing styles that you'd be able to do. Outside of
you look like dweebs.
That's fairly utilitarian, we also want to do something that could be fairly high-end. So here we're just exploring some ideas about what a space could feel like on a different...
This looks like it was designed by Origin.
And more generous windows, interior spaces dedicated to more than just habitation. And these would be focused on other landing zones. So imagine you come across these in Area 18, or it could be when we come to Terra. And also, like I said, it could be informing future...
This was kind of, this apartment was kind of what I thought the white box we saw looked like. This bit here. Just hallways and tiers. You feel like a number. Go to your allocated marination room. Filthy corp person. I just censored our corp, I don't know why.
Player-owned habitation architectural sets. Now, outside of the living quarters, there's also the social spaces just outside. And we want these to be more than just the corridors that we're seeing in the game right now.
Catchup gamer, you're talking about me.
Now, so these could be multi-layered social spaces. And these could also inform advanced traversal routes for the player to be able to get in.
Classic cyberpunk death scene. You even got the Deus Ex lights up there.
Architectural styles. What you're seeing here is just a collection of ideas, a collection of architectural intent to create like a palette or a mood that will inform art style and gameplay opportunities. So outside of residential, we're moving into the commercial area. So what this means is it means we can look at areas that are more gameplay focused.
No, this probably isn't his concept art. He's the director. So telling people to make it.
These could be office
blocks. Maybe helping with some design.
These could be corporate owned. Inside here, there could be corporate wings, there could be manufacturing, there could be office spaces. And what we try to think about with these, it's more than just a flat room. There should be advanced traversal, it should be multi-tiered.
But all this stuff is like, when we're talking about these roadmap roundups, right? And they talk about access tokens and stuff like that. They talk about reputation, security systems are kind of implemented or included in this sort of talk. That's all the stuff that they're building these locations for. So that even though this dude's talking about the art of these locations, these things, you know, maybe this is background kind of noise and design, but things like this here, the security center, that's what this is for. And we can even see rooms like this in the distribution centers we're getting. So it's one part of the company building stuff so that hopefully another part of the company can eventually imbue their own gameplay into it. We are not at that part yet, unfortunately, which sucks because it's been like a year and something since we had this talk, but that's the thinking behind this at least.
So what this means is it means we can look at areas that are more gameplay focused outside of player habitation. So when we're talking about these could be office blocks, these could be corporate owned. Inside here, there could be corporate wings, there could be manufacturing, there could be office spaces. And what we try to think about with these, it's more than just a flat room. There should be advanced traversal, it should be multi-tiered. So outside of the commercial offices, we've also got like restaurants and bars. So what we're looking at here is a pretty cool like skyline bar in Lowville. That could be fun. But also in restaurants, Chris always described the idea of really high-end restaurants in the game where you can get access to food choices that isn't available anywhere else. So right at the foot of the building, we're going to start talking about the lobby. So as I said before, these are going to be access points to the player, but also we can do more than just a standard foyer that we're seeing in the game right now. So this sort of space we're seeing here is, imagine there's an underground transit network, and that transit station feeds a network of building lobbies. So these could be social spaces, these could be really good combat spaces. They could have access to...
They couldn't come up with a more creative name for a coffee place than Arabica? Come on now. 900 years in the future, you're not using a different type of coffee bean?
And we're just showing that in a variety of art styles. So
see what I did there?
Fairly low end, one could be fairly high end, but the infrastructure is the same. So as we're exploring art style opportunities, this then drives where it would be appropriate. So some would be more appropriate in somewhere like Area 18, some would be more appropriate in somewhere like Horizon, and obviously some would be more appropriate for future landing zones like Odessa or Prime. And also when we're talking about lobbies, again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to describe multi-layer traversal spaces. So in these illustrations, you're seeing a variety of routes to then help inform the initial conversation with level design. Now, finally, we're going to talk about the underground now. This is, I think, one of the coolest spaces. So rather than just focusing on the positive axis of the building, we're going to look at the underground. Now, what this does, it means we can access a whole area of play space that doesn't need to be contained inside the building. So within the lobby, we want the player to start to traverse down into these spaces, and these could be underground transit networks. They could be abandoned underground transit networks. This then could drive potential racing opportunities. So when we was doing this, we thought, oh, it'd be really cool. Like,
I get stuck on the wall so fast.
Underground street race going on there. Also, there could be traversal opportunities. Like I said before, if the player wanted to go into one building, down, and then through.
This is not currently in development. It was. That's what I was showing you before. This is the same thing. This is the building interiors. You can recognize the apartment here. They did start developing this, but this is concept art. So don't expect this to be exactly how it is. But after this video, I will show you the Montreal team who is working on this, or at least was working on this. The stuff they've done generally looks a lot like the concept art, from the hospitals they did to the derelict outposts they've done to the distribution centers we've gotten. Quite a bit of it does maintain the styling that they use in the concept images, but this is mainly just to give you an idea of where they're going, not to show you exactly what it's going to look like.
To another building, what would that traversal network be like? Especially if we're thinking about, if it's an older part of the underground of a city, maybe it's less used, you know, people have built up, that would...
This does kind of remind me of that scene from Squadron 42, though. The one where they're walking through the water. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Squadron. Do-do-do. Da-da-da-da-da. This one. This looks a little similar to what they're showing here, which this is probably a bespoke location made for Squadron 42, but same vibes. Some kind of underground sewer sort of situation.
Instantly inspire a whole bunch of traversal and investigation missions there. Or maybe there's an old aqueduct or an old infrastructure underground. You know, this could be perfect for underground street racing or other racing opportunities.
Again, I die.
So in a nutshell, what we looked at is a blue sky investigation into what a much larger initiative. So we're seeing it a little bit now with the redo of Lowville. That's turning into a much bigger cityscape. And what that means is every city in the game is ready for these building interior spaces. Now, one thing to note is the cityscapes are probably going to change a little bit. Just from an initial investigation, we found our buildings are quite small. So expect to see the skylines go through a period of transition, but that's cool because that means we're designing the inside of the buildings and then we'll redo the architecture to fit to that. So I think it's going to be super positive for the game. So just in case we was thinking it's all just blue sky concept, actually we're going to start full production on these spaces right at the end of this quarter.
And then you stopped. Hey, are you saying this isn't going to happen anymore? They're not going to expand cities? Bit like Night City looks off to us. There are physical telephone boxes, things in the city, as they never imagined mobile phones when they wrote the Cyberpunk comics.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that much.
So going back to, let's see, the first time we saw concept art that we're supposed to show this stuff off was, let's see if this makes it pop up. This does not make it pop up.
This week, it's another.
I'm gonna have to go all the way back to the ISC episode for it. Jeez, I don't even know. This. Nope, not this. A little earlier than this. Was it this? No, this was the derelict ships. We're looking for the derelict outposts. Crikey. Man, I do not remember where that was. Something more generic to more easily expand to newer locations and whatnot. Aye! I hope it's not generic. But, I mean, if they need to downsize on the, like, custom ideas of this stuff to make it actually happen, I'd rather get the freaking stuff out than spend a ton of time on custom stuff. I don't know if I can find the one where they showed the concept art for this though. Unfortunately, might not be able to. I guess they did kind of show it off in this Star Citizen Live. This one, but I... No, it's not here.
To discover from
Could have sworn it was like right around this time period. Oh well. So they did show some of this in Star Citizen Live. You can see here.
Relics that work in multiple biomes, multiple environments, and stuff like that. So that's why some of these look familiar, because that's specifically the point.
Yep. Pretty much it.
So like you can see the concept art. This is basically what showed up in the game, and I think the dev team that worked on those locations did a decent job of sticking to the concept art itself. And then if you go a bit forward to where they started introducing the underground facilities,
Hello, my name is John Griffiths.
Nope.
I'm a lead.
Wrong one. This one. So this ended up looking pretty similar to the distribution centers we started getting.
About it being a braver visual presence on a landscape, so we designed the silhouette primarily, so you'd be able to recognize these as a location to aim for. Also, what we're seeing here is we thought it'd be cool to actually have surface entrances as well. So we're actually thinking about primary, secondary, tertiary ways for the player to get into these locations.
Explorable cities was kind of abandoned.
So like I said before, you've got like executive pads at the top.
Definitely ambitious timelines, way too ambitious timelines.
Down there below. Now moving on to the inside, so after the players landed through the hangars, to be brought up.
Like you can see this in the locations we got with the distribution centers. Things kind of changed from the layout that we're getting here, but the idea sticks.
But the facility, and what we're seeing here is, you know, just an example of what a bearing reception could feel like.
Oh yeah, we can mix Discord chat if we wanted to. Just don't
now moving into zone 2,
have that.
with it being an underground facility, the physical act of going underground, that's cool, right? So we wanted zone 2 to be about the logistics of the player going up and down, and how we can make that cool visually, but also interesting from a player experience. So this is the transit, the elevator network. So we played around with a few different ideas into this, and one of the things that we thought could be quite interesting is the elevator itself could be a
talking about the 3D UI that popped up in the hangars. I don't think that was something they wanted in the game. I think they were trying to just show off the 3D UI technology. From what I understand, that technology was what is used for the shopping UI that we have now, though.
But it had some pretty interesting ideas. So what we landed on here is something that we felt quite comfortable with in art style.
So compared to the distribution centers we get, you kind of are seeing the concept art again. Some small changes here and there. I think they lost a little bit of the scale, but the location teams, I think, do a good job of sticking to the concept art that they are given and bringing that into the game.
To be brought up into the main core.
This is underground facilities.
Now these are going to be quite interesting because we'll be able to underground facility could look like. So dominant features that we're seeing here is a
What's up, Trio?
Key spire. This is instantly where your player you should be able to navigate towards. This could be like a corporate wing or an.
What I'm waiting for is the actual underground segments here that we still haven't gotten.
Another theme room idea we came up with was processing. So bringing in raw materials,
how you been, dude?
Processing them through, ready for manufacturing. So we had a bit of fun with ways in which we could kind of create these quite interesting set pieces. So it's not all just industry in the underbelly of these underground facilities. There's also going to be technical areas, areas dedicated towards the control of the location. So what we're seeing here is maybe it's the main map room. So this is where they control the networking of.
Here's like the early work that they had done on this stuff. Things are good, dude. Hope things are good for you as well. It's summertime, so it's hot. And you can tell we got the upper portion of this with the distribution centers. They still haven't gotten to this part though, which is the elevators down and doing the underground facility part, which hopefully comes at some point. But no talk on that. I think they've really had to downscale their ambitions over these years because they just need to focus on Squadron and getting that out and getting a basic version of Star Citizen done, and yeah. Welcome to the live show, Nomad. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, this is, I mean, the distribution centers are okay, but like this is the real meat of these locations, and I certainly still hope they're happening. And that, folks, that wraps up today. Good talk. Good talk, y'all. Thank you for coming by. Thanks for checking out the stream, asking the questions, giving the chat, doing the debating. It's been a good time. As always, I appreciate you being here. I hope you learned something. I hope you had something pop out at you that maybe got you thinking, or got you a little more interested in looking something up with Star Citizen. As you know, we will be back, of course, on Wednesday with some more good times, and potentially, I'm assuming and planning on another cooking stream. I think we're planning pizza this week, so I hope that's happening. Mrs. Tomato, can you confirm in chat for the good people, because they want to know. Pizza! All right, folks. So I hope to see you on Wednesday. We'll probably do some gameplay. Maybe we'll do a little chatting if any good news comes out. But I'll definitely be seeing you on the Wednesday stream right here, same time, same place. And we will be hitting up the cooking stream afterward, as we do, raiding into Mrs. Tomato's channel over in the kitchen, where we'll do some cooking together, chatting and cooking and drinking and all that jazz. Thank you all for being here. It's always a good time. Huh. Let's see. All right. My man Tom's playing some Star Citizen, so I'm going to pass y'all over there. Show him some love, folks. Twitch, I need you guys to drop those toes in the chat. Toes gang. Let them know. All right? Tom is very well aware of Toes gang, but, you know, we got to give him a little reminder. Thanks again for being here. Make sure to join us for the streamathon coming on Friday/Saturday. Yeah, cooking stream is after the stream. I'm raiding into it. They know. Y'all know, right? I will be doing my regular stream on Wednesday and then raiding into the cooking stream. So I'll see you there. Hopefully we get some good news to Star Citizen by that point and we can have something a little bit more to discuss. But yeah, it's been a good day. I'll catch y'all later. Have a great one. Hug somebody you love. Eat something you like. Have a good sleep. See you on Wednesday. Bye, everybody.